Hey diamonds, welcome to the channel. So you guys, I'm going to be sharing real Twitter stories. You guys, there's some wild stories on Twitter, and this is going to be like a new segment on the channel. So let us get started. So this person says that I was married to a banker until I lost my job due to downsizing. For 2 years I searched for another job. No way. I was paid off handsomely, and I lost all the money in some business investments. Within that 2 years, three of my in-laws moved into our home in Lekki, and it became hell for me. Let me not go into the details of what I passed through. My wife was paying the rent, school fees of the kids. It got worse when my wife was promoted and her mother, my mother-in-law, moved in. She came into the dining room one evening and said, "It is only food I like to eat." I told her to keep off my marriage, and we had some exchange of words. To cut it short, my wife came back and hell was loose. She said I insulted the mother. Very early next morning, I picked some few clothes and left. I left everything I owned and took off to preserve my sanity. After I left, I squatted with a couple of friends in Lagos, attending job interviews. It was very tough for me, but I thank God for my friends. It is good to be good to your friends when you are up there. I helped a lot of them when I was working, so they took it upon themselves to contribute money for me because I lost so much weight. I once went to see my kids. They didn't let me in. I stood at the gate for about 13 minutes. But as God would have it, I landed a better paying job. And about more than a year after our separation, bang, she lost her job. Moved away from Lekki to mainland. I heard she's blaming her mother for her problems. Who cares? She now sells stuffs online. I've forgiven her, but the marriage is over. My 2 kids live with her. I pay school fees directly to the school and other child keeping expenses. This year, she made several attempts to mend fences, but honestly, I am done. Hey, you guys, this story is not even funny. So, if you were in this case now, what would you have advised? What did they do wrong? Because this is wild. Like, why do some people take relationships to be transactional, especially the relationship of marriage, right? I personally don't like to talk about marriage, but this gist that we just read, there are so many angles to it that I don't know. Like, you know, when they say for better, for worse, I still am of that old school of thought, even though these days now is more like, even if you are doing for better, for worse, shine your eye because of the different people have different stories, right? Now, this is a case of somebody who was doing well and things happen, like things, especially when you are working in corporate Nigeria, anything can just happen and people will lose their job. That's why I don't really always agree with people who feel like when people want to get married, like you have to have like a very good job in quotes before you can get married. Because what happens if something just happened and they sack everybody? For instance, now the dollar crisis is currently happening in Nigeria and liquidity issues. There's going to be a lot of laying off and downsizing, because when push comes to shove, the management of most organizations would rather, okay, let go of dead weight or people who they feel like maybe they are being overpaid. Now, so what happens when such a thing happens to your spouse, is that the end of the marriage? Because a lot of people actually get married to people, they don't get married to people, they get married to the jobs that people have or the cars that somebody is riding, and not the person per se. I feel like that's what happened here. And I just have a couple of questions. Like, from the story that we read, how come it was after the man lost his job that his in-laws moved in? Like, if the story was like they were living there before, I would have understand. So at what point, like, why did they move in when he lost his job? Were they feeling like, so when he had his job, he was a good in-law, so to speak? So now that he has lost his job, don't chop our daughter's money. Like, some people will say that it's better to move far away from like where your family is and just go and start your family afresh, to avoid all this type of unnecessary, undue influence in a person's marriage. Because look, to be honest, I don't know, like, I've heard senior people, like elderly people, talk about when they had to go through like a rough patch, and I think that and at a season, the woman was one who was earning more than the man, and it didn't especially if it's a man that is a hardworking person. You know, there are some people that you know that this person is hardworking, and it's not about whether the person doesn't have so much, okay, but the person is hardworking and making efforts, right? And one of the senior people that I know that had shared his own personal experience when I just got married was that he was a stay-at-home dad for that season of his life. His wife was the one who was working in a bank. So when the wife would go to work, he would bathe the kids, cook at home, and he did not emasculate him. I hope that's the right word. Like, his wife did not disrespect him for doing that. I know that there are some women know that if a man is doing that for them, it's opportunity to, like, they will disrespect the man pro mass. But he said that he did that for about 2 years, and until he now got like a big breakthrough, got a better job. Because I always tell people that life ebbs, like, it's like this, okay? But I know that it also depends on the type of partner, yeah, because I always tell you that I'm a very pragmatic person. Like, there are some people who say, oh, everything, marriage is just perfect like that. It's not true. Marriage is not always perfect. Things happen, okay? And sometimes you may get married, you think you're getting married to a good person, then in the marriage you now find out that this person's character is not gelling at all. So, but in cases where, like, you know, you have a good person, all this kind of excesses is not necessary. What do you guys think? Like, I feel like the woman's family, they went too far, especially the woman. Like, okay, were they quarreling? Because let's even look at it from that angle, because when people are telling stories, sometimes they will not say everything, and you know that men, they have ego. So were they quarreling? Was he beating her? Do you understand that her family members will come and move into the house, then it becomes a stranger in his hand? I feel like some things are just extreme. But you guys share with me, let me know what you think. What could they have done better? Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the series, let me know and share with me your thoughts. What should the woman have done better? If it was you, what would you have done? I'll see you all in my next one. Bye.